Earth, the blue jewel of the solar system, had always held the fascination of its inhabitants. For centuries, humans had looked up at the night sky, dreaming of exploring the vast, unknown reaches of space. Little did they know that their time to shine was rapidly approaching. In the early 22nd century, a series of groundbreaking technological advancements propelled humanity into a new era of space exploration. Breakthroughs in propulsion systems, material science, and computer technology allowed for the construction of powerful spacecraft capable of reaching distant planets and moons. As the nations of Earth pooled their resources and expertise, the first human colonies were established on the Moon and Mars. These outposts served as stepping stones for further expansion, with human settlers quickly establishing a permanent presence across the solar system. The colonization of the asteroids and the moons of Jupiter and Saturn soon followed, as humanity's thirst for exploration knew no bounds. The Galactic Council, a governing body comprising the most advanced civilizations in the Milky Way, watched these developments with a mixture of fascination and unease. For eons, they had been the undisputed masters of the galaxy, guiding the progress of less developed species from the shadows. The sudden and rapid ascent of humanity, however, caught them off guard. The Council's representatives convened in their grand chamber, debating the implications of this new, ambitious species. Some argued that the humans could be a valuable addition to the galactic community, bringing fresh ideas and a boundless spirit of adventure. Others, however, voiced concerns about the potential threat posed by this young, volatile civilization. Humans are emotional, unpredictable, and far too ambitious, warned the representative of the Xyloth, a highly advanced but reclusive species. They will upset the delicate balance of power in the galaxy, and we must act to contain their expansion before it's too late. The Council deliberated for weeks, weighing the pros and cons of engaging with the humans. Ultimately, they decided to make contact, but with a firm hand. A delegation was dispatched to the human colonies, bearing gifts and offers of technological assistance, but also strict warnings about the limits of their expansion. The humans, however, were not cowed by the Galactic Council's posturing. Their leaders recognized the opportunity before them and embraced it wholeheartedly. They welcomed the alien envoys, accepting their offers of aid, but made it clear that they had no intention of surrendering their newfound freedom and autonomy. "We are grateful for your assistance," said the president of the United Earth Federation, "but we will chart our own course in the stars. Humanity has waited too long to claim its rightful place in the galaxy, and we will not be bound by the rules of those who have come before us." The Galactic Council representatives left Earth, unsettled by the humans' defiant attitude. They returned to their chambers, where a heated debate ensued. Some advocated for a more forceful approach, while others argued for a diplomatic, measured response. In the end, the Council decided to keep a close watch on the human colonies, wary of the potential threat they posed to the delicate balance of power in the galaxy. Little did they know that their decision would soon have far-reaching consequences, as the people of Earth, emboldened by their technological prowess, were about to embark on a journey that would shake the very foundations of the galactic order. As the human colonies continued to expand across the solar system, their technological prowess caught the attention of the Galactic Council once more. Sensing an opportunity, the Council decided to make formal contact with the humans, hoping to bring them into the fold of the galactic community. A grand delegation, led by the esteemed Ambassador Xyloth, was dispatched to Earth. The humans welcomed the alien envoys with open arms, eager to establish diplomatic and trade relations. For the first time, the people of Earth came face to face with the diverse array of sentient species that made up the Galactic Council. Initial interactions were marked by a mix of awe, curiosity, and cautious optimism. The humans were amazed by the advanced technology and sophisticated cultures of their alien counterparts, while the Council representatives were intrigued by the boundless energy and resourcefulness of the human settlers. "You humans are a most fascinating species," remarked Ambassador Xyloth during a formal meeting with the Earth's leadership. Your rapid technological advancement and your willingness to explore the unknown have captured our attention. We believe that by working together, we can achieve great things. The humans, led by the charismatic President Samantha Nguyen, recognize the potential benefits of joining the Galactic Council. Access to advanced alien technologies and the vast trade networks of the Council could propel humanity's expansion and prosperity to new heights. We are honored by your invitation, Ambassador Xylov, Nguyen replied. The people of Earth are ready to take their place among the stars and contribute to the greater good of the galaxy. However, we do have some concerns that we would like to address before committing to a full alliance. The negotiations that followed were delicate and at times tense. The humans demanded greater autonomy and a larger say in the Council's decision-making processes, while the alien representatives were reluctant to relinquish too much control. Tensions came to a head when the humans discovered that the Galactic Council had been secretly exploiting and oppressing less developed alien civilizations, using their resources and labor for the benefit of the more advanced species. How dare you claim to be the guardians of the galaxy, while concealing such atrocities from the rest of us? Nguyen thundered, her voice echoing through the Grand Council chambers. We will not be a part of this system of subjugation and injustice. The Council representatives were taken aback by the humans' passionate response. They scrambled to defend their actions, arguing that the exploitation was necessary for the greater good of the galaxy. But the damage had been done, and the seeds of mistrust had been sown. Ultimately, after weeks of heated debates and tense negotiations, the humans agreed to join the Galactic Council, but with a set of strict conditions. They demanded greater autonomy, a larger voice in the Council's decision-making, and the implementation of sweeping reforms to address the exploitation of less advanced civilizations. The Galactic Council, faced with the prospect of losing the valuable technological and strategic assets that the humans could provide, had little choice but to acquiesce. However, they did so with great reluctance, wary of the consequences that this new alliance might have on the delicate balance of power in the galaxy. As the human delegates left the council chambers, they knew that this was only the beginning of a long and arduous journey. The path ahead was filled with uncertainties, but they were determined to carve out a place for humanity in the stars, no matter the cost. The human colonies had been part of the Galactic Council for nearly a decade, and in that time, the relationship between Earth and the alien governing body had been an uneasy one. The humans had pushed for sweeping reforms and greater autonomy, while the Council representatives had been reluctant to relinquish their long-held control. Tensions reached a boiling point when the humans discovered the true extent of the Council's exploitation of less developed civilizations. Through careful investigation and the testimony of whistleblowers, they uncovered a web of deceit and oppression that had been hidden from the galaxy at large. The Galactic Council has been using its power to subjugate our fellow sentient beings, extracting their resources and labor for their own benefit, President Nguyen declared in a televised address to the people of Earth. This is a betrayal of the ideals of justice and equality that we thought the Council upheld. The revelation sent shockwaves through the human colonies and the Galactic Council alike. Protests and riots erupted on the streets of major human cities as the people demanded immediate action against the Council's transgressions. In the Grand Chamber of the Council, the representatives found themselves in a heated and acrimonious debate. Some argued that the humans had overreacted, and that the exploitation was a necessary evil for the greater good of the galaxy. Others, however, acknowledged the gravity of the situation and called for immediate reform. We cannot ignore the valid concerns raised by our human allies, said the Xyloth representative, his usually stoic demeanor betraying a hint of unease. If we do not address this issue swiftly and decisively, we risk losing their trust and support, which could have catastrophic consequences for the entire galactic community. But the majority of the Council remained intransigent, unwilling to surrender their power and privilege. They dismissed the humans' demands, arguing that the current system had served the galaxy well for centuries and that there was no need for drastic change. Frustrated by the Council's refusal to listen, The human delegation walked out of the negotiations, cutting off all diplomatic ties. President Nguyen addressed the people of Earth once more, her voice resolute and unwavering. The Galactic Council has betrayed the trust we placed in them. They have shown themselves to be nothing more than self-serving tyrants, unwilling to acknowledge the suffering they have inflicted upon our fellow sentient beings. We will no longer be a part of this corrupt system. With those words, Earth formally withdrew from the Galactic Council, a move that sent shockwaves through the galaxy. The Council representatives were stunned, realizing too late the gravity of their mistake. They had underestimated the strength of the human spirit and their unwavering commitment to justice and equality. As the human colonies fortified their defenses and prepared for the inevitable conflict, the Galactic Council scrambled to find a solution. But the damage had been done, and the galaxy was now on the brink of a war that would test the very foundations of the galactic order. The withdrawal of the human colonies from the Galactic Council sent shockwaves throughout the galaxy. The Council, accustomed to their position of power and influence, struggled to comprehend the gravity of their mistake. In the grand halls of the Council's headquarters, the representatives convened in a frantic emergency session. Tempers flared as they debated the appropriate course of action, with some advocating for immediate military action to bring the humans back into the fold, while others urged for a more diplomatic approach. "We cannot allow the humans to jeopardize the delicate balance of power in the galaxy," argued the Xyloth representative, his voice laced with a rare hint of panic. "Their technological prowess and military capabilities pose a grave threat to our way of life. We must crush their rebellion before it spreads to other civilizations." However, the representative from the Eridani hegemony, a longtime ally of the Council, offered a more measured response. "Responding with brute force will only serve to further alienate the humans and push them into open conflict. We must tread carefully and try to mend the rift through negotiation and compromise." After hours of heated debate, the Council made a fateful decision. They would issue an ultimatum to the human colonies: return to the Galactic Council and submit to its authority, or face the full might of the Council's military might. On Earth, President Nguyen and her cabinet received the Council's ultimatum with a mixture of outrage and resolve. They had known that their defiance would not go unanswered, but they were determined to stand firm in their principles. "The Galactic Council has made its decision," Nguyen announced to the people of Earth. "They have chosen to respond to our call for justice and equality with threats and violence. We will not back down. We will fight for our freedom, and the freedom of all sentient beings in the galaxy." The human colonies immediately mobilized their military forces, bolstered by their advanced technologies and the unwavering determination of their citizens. They knew that they were outnumbered and outmatched by the vast resources of the Galactic Council, but they were willing to risk everything to defend their hard-won autonomy. As the Council's massive invasion fleet approached the borders of the human colonies, the stage was set for a titanic clash that would shake the very foundations of the galaxy. The Galactic War had begun. In the opening battles, the humans' superior tactical acumen and innovative weaponry allowed them to score a series of stunning victories against the Council's forces. Their ships, powered by revolutionary fusion drives and equipped with advanced energy weapons, carved through the Council's fleets with ease. The Council's representatives were shocked by the humans' resilience and prowess on the battlefield. They had assumed that the human colonies would be easy prey, but the tenacity and bravery of the human soldiers proved them wrong. "How can this be?" the Xyloth representative cried out in dismay, as reports of yet another human victory reached the Council's chambers. "They are mere upstarts. How can they be matching us, battle for battle?" But the humans were not content with merely holding their ground. Emboldened by their initial successes, they launched a series of daring offensives, striking deep into the heart of the Galactic Council's territories. The once mighty Council found itself on the defensive, struggling to contain the human onslaught. As the war raged on, the entire galaxy held its breath, wondering which side would ultimately emerge victorious. The fate of the galactic order hung in the balance, and the consequences of the outcome would be felt for generations to come. As the Galactic War raged on, the tide began to turn against the human colonies. Despite their early victories, the sheer scale and resources of the Galactic Council's military machine proved to be a formidable challenge. The Council had mobilized its entire fleet, drawing upon the military might of dozens of member civilizations. Wave after wave of invasion forces descended upon the human colonies, intent on crushing the rebellion and bringing the humans back under the Council's control. From their command center on Earth, President Nguyen and her cabinet watched the unfolding battle with growing concern. They knew that their planet was on the brink of destruction and that the very survival of humanity hung in the balance. "Our forces are being overwhelmed," Nguyen said, her face etched with a mixture of determination and anguish. "We have pushed the Council to the limit, but they still have more resources to bring to bear. We cannot hold out much longer." The human military commanders reported devastating losses as the Council's superior numbers and advanced weaponry slowly but surely eroded their defenses. The once proud human fleet was being whittled down, its ships destroyed or forced to retreat in the face of the relentless onslaught. In the Council's grand chambers, the representatives watched the unfolding battle with a mixture of relief and triumph. The Xyloth representative, in particular, could barely contain his glee. "I told you that the humans would be no match for our might," he gloated, his eyes gleaming with a malicious satisfaction. "Now we will crush their rebellion and bring them back into the fold where they belong." But as the human colonies began to crumble under the weight of the Council's assault, President Nguyen and her advisors realized that they had one final card to play. It was a desperate, last-ditch plan that would test the limits of their moral resolve, but they were determined to do whatever it took to save their people. "We have no choice," Nguyen said, her voice laced with a sorrowful resignation. "If we cannot defeat the Council through conventional means, then we must resort to more drastic measures. The survival of humanity is at stake." With a heavy heart, Nguyen and her cabinet gave the order to implement a scorched earth policy. Across the human colonies, a series of devastating weapons and environmental catastrophes were unleashed, designed to cripple the Council's invasion force and deny them a clear victory. Massive electromagnetic pulses fried the Council's ships, while directed energy weapons tore through their hulls. Engineered plagues and toxins ravaged the alien invaders, while engineered orbital debris fields turned the space around Earth into a deadly minefield. The Council's forces were caught off guard by the ferocity and ruthlessness of the human retaliation. Entire invasion fleets were decimated, their ships drifting helplessly through the void of space, their crews succumbing to the horrors unleashed by the humans. In the grand chambers of the Council, the representatives watched in stunned silence as their carefully laid plans unraveled before their eyes. The Xyloth representative, his earlier triumph turning to ash, could only manage a horrified whisper. "What have they done?" As the battle raged on, it became clear that the Galactic Council had severely underestimated the lengths to which the people of Earth would go to defend their freedom. The once mighty invasion force was in disarray, its advance grinding to a halt in the face of the humans' unrelenting onslaught. For the first time in the Council's history, the prospect of a resounding defeat loomed large. The galaxy held its breath, wondering if the humans would succeed in their desperate gambit to save their homeworld, or if the Council's superior might would ultimately prevail. The fate of the Galactic Order hung in the balance, and the consequences of the outcome would reverberate through the stars for generations to come. As the Galactic War raged on, the human colonies on Earth faced a grim reality. The Galactic Council's invasion force, though battered and reeling, had not been deterred by the humans' desperate scorched earth tactics. If anything, the Council's determination to crush the rebellion had only intensified. From their command center in the heart of the United Earth Federation, President Samantha Nguyen and her cabinet huddled in tense discussions, weighing their dwindling options. The human forces were stretched thin, their reserves of manpower and resources rapidly depleting in the face of the relentless Council onslaught. "We cannot hold out much longer," Nguyen said, her voice laced with a mix of frustration and anguish. "The Council's forces are closing in, and our defenses are crumbling. We must take drastic action, or all will be lost." The cabinet members exchanged troubled glances, acutely aware of the gravity of the situation. They knew that what they were about to do would be a moral line that, once crossed, could never be uncrossed. But with their backs against the wall, they felt they had no other choice. "Initiate the Scorched Earth Protocol," Nguyen commanded, her jaw set with unwavering determination. "We must do whatever it takes to stop the Council's invasion, even if it means destroying our own world." Across the globe, the human military unleashed a series of devastating weapons and environmental catastrophes designed to cripple the Council's invasion force and deny them a clear victory. Massive electromagnetic pulses fried the Council's ships, while directed energy weapons tore through their hulls. Engineered plagues and toxins ravaged the alien invaders, while engineered orbital debris fields turned the space around Earth into a deadly minefield. The Council's forces, caught off guard by the sheer ferocity and ruthlessness of the human retaliation, found themselves in a desperate struggle for survival. Entire invasion fleets were decimated, their ships drifting helplessly through the void of space, their crews succumbing to the horrors unleashed by the humans. In the grand chambers of the Council, the representatives watched in stunned silence as their carefully laid plans unraveled before their eyes. The Xyloth representative, his earlier triumph turning to ash, could only manage a horrified whisper. "What have they done?" As the battle raged on, it became clear that the Galactic Council had severely underestimated the lengths to which the people of Earth would go to defend their freedom. The once mighty invasion force was in disarray, its advance grinding to a halt in the face of the humans' unrelenting onslaught. For the first time in the Council's history, the prospect of a resounding defeat loomed large. The galaxy held its breath, wondering if the humans would succeed in their desperate gambit to save their homeworld, or if the Council's superior might would ultimately prevail. The fate of the Galactic Order hung in the balance, and the consequences of the outcome would reverberate through the stars for generations to come. As the battle raged on, the human colonies on Earth bore witness to the unfolding calamity. The skies above their cities were ablaze with the wreckage of fallen spacecraft, while the ground trembled under the weight of the conflict. Yet, despite the overwhelming odds, the people of Earth refused to surrender. They knew that the very survival of their species depended on the outcome of this battle, and they were willing to sacrifice everything to ensure their freedom. In the end, the humans' scorched Earth tactics proved to be the decisive factor. The Galactic Council's invasion force, battered and demoralized, was forced to retreat, unable to sustain the onslaught of the humans' devastating retaliation. As the dust settled, the people of Earth emerged from the ashes, their spirits battered but unbroken. They had won a hard-fought victory, but at a terrible cost. Their once beautiful homeworld lay in ruins, a testament to the price of their defiance. In the aftermath, the Galactic Council found itself reeling, its confidence shaken and its reputation tarnished. The humans had not only survived the onslaught, but had also dealt a devastating blow to the very foundations of the Council's power. The galaxy had been forever changed, and the balance of power had shifted in ways that no one could have predicted. The people of Earth, once mere upstarts, had proven themselves to be a force to be reckoned with, a lesson the Galactic Council would never forget. The Galactic Council was reeling in the aftermath of the devastating defeat at the hands of the humans. The once mighty invasion force had been decimated, its ships drifting helplessly through the void of space, their crews succumbing to the horrors unleashed by the scorched Earth tactics of the people of Earth. In the grand chambers of the Council, the representatives sat in stunned silence, their faces etched with a mixture of disbelief and shame. The Xyloth representative, whose earlier gloating had turned to ashes, could barely bring himself to speak. How could this have happened? He murmured, his voice barely above a whisper. "We had them outmatched, outgunned, and yet they destroyed us." The other representatives shifted uncomfortably in their seats acutely aware of the gravity of the situation. The Galactic Council, the bastion of power and influence in the galaxy, had been brought to its knees by a mere handful of human colonies. "We underestimated them," the Eridani representative said, his usually stoic demeanor betraying a hint of unease. "Their determination, their willingness to sacrifice everything for their freedom. We did not foresee the lengths they would go to in order to defend their homeworld." Slowly, the realization dawned on the council members that their actions had led them down a path of ruin. The systematic exploitation and oppression of less developed civilizations, which they had once justified as necessary for the greater good, had now come back to haunt them. "We are no better than the tyrants we claim to protect the galaxy from," the Xyloth representative said, his voice thick with remorse. "Our arrogance and our greed have blinded us to the true cost of our actions. Now we must face the consequences." As the council deliberated on the path forward, reports began to filter in from across the galaxy. Word of the humans' defiance and the Galactic Council's humiliating defeat had spread like wildfire, inspiring other oppressed civilizations to rise up against their oppressors. Across the Council's territories, pockets of resistance sprung up, as alien races long subjugated by the Galactic Order seized the opportunity to assert their independence. The Council's representatives found themselves scrambling to contain the growing unrest, their resources stretched thin as they battled on multiple fronts. "We are facing a reckoning," the Eridani representative said, his brow furrowed with concern. "The humans have not only defeated us on the battlefield, but they have also shattered the very foundation of the Galactic Order. We must act swiftly and decisively to regain control, or risk losing everything." But the Council's attempts to reassert its authority were met with increasing defiance and resistance. The people of Earth, emboldened by their victory, began to use their newfound influence to champion the cause of the oppressed, rallying other civilizations to their side. The Galactic Council has long claimed to be the guardian of the galaxy, but their actions have shown them to be nothing more than tyrants, President Nguyen declared in a rousing speech broadcast across the stars. "We will not rest until the shackles of oppression are broken, and all sentient beings in the galaxy can live in freedom and equality." As the Council's grip on power began to slip, its representatives found themselves in a desperate struggle to maintain the fragile balance that had defined the Galactic Order for centuries. The future of the galaxy hung in the balance, and the people of Earth had emerged as a force to be reckoned with, determined to reshape the very fabric of the galactic community. In the aftermath of the devastating defeat inflicted upon the Galactic Council by the people of Earth, the balance of power in the galaxy had shifted irrevocably. The once mighty Council, whose grip on authority had been unquestioned for centuries, now found itself in a precarious position, its influence waning in the face of the growing human dominance. Emboldened by their victory, the human colonies, led by the indomitable President Samantha Nguyen, began to expand their reach across the stars. They used their technological prowess and strategic acumen to liberate the oppressed alien civilizations that had long toiled under the Council's yoke, forging new alliances and solidifying their position as a formidable force in the galactic community. The people of Earth have seen firsthand the consequences of unchecked power and the abuse of authority. Nguyen declared in a rousing address to the newly formed Human Interstellar Coalition, "We will not stand idly by and allow the Galactic Council to continue its tyrannical reign. It is time for a new era of cooperation, equality, and justice to dawn across the galaxy." The Council, now faced with the daunting prospect of confronting the growing human-led alliance, found itself in a desperate struggle to maintain its relevance and authority. Its representatives, once so confident in their superiority, now scrambled to devise a strategy that would allow them to regain their footing and restore the fragile balance of power. "We cannot allow the humans to usurp our rightful place in the galaxy," the Xyloth representative argued, his voice laced with a mixture of fear and anger. "Their ambition knows no bounds, and if we do not act quickly, they will sweep aside our civilization and all that we have built." However, the Eridani representative, ever the voice of reason, urged caution and diplomacy. "We must approach this situation with a clear head and a willingness to compromise," he said, his tone measured and deliberate. "The humans have shown themselves to be a force to be reckoned with, and we would be wise to seek common ground and find a way to coexist peacefully." Ultimately, the Council found itself facing a stark choice: either adapt to the new realities of the galactic landscape or risk being swept aside by the juggernaut that was the human interstellar empire. With great reluctance, the Council's representatives agreed to open negotiations with the human leadership, knowing that their very survival as a governing body depended on their ability to find a way to work alongside their former adversaries. The talks were lengthy and arduous, with both sides unwilling to compromise on their core principles. But in the end, a fragile peace was forged, one that acknowledged the newfound power and influence of the humans while also preserving the Galactic Council's role as a governing body. Under the terms of the agreement, the humans were granted a greater say in the Council's decision-making processes, and a series of sweeping reforms were implemented to address the systemic issues of oppression and exploitation that had plagued the galaxy for so long. "This is not a perfect solution," President Nguyen acknowledged, "but it is a necessary first step towards a future where all sentient beings in the galaxy can live in peace and prosperity." As the dust settled, the people of Earth looked out at the stars with a renewed sense of purpose and determination. They had fought hard for their freedom, and now they were poised to play a pivotal role in shaping the destiny of the entire galaxy. The Galactic Council, once the undisputed masters of the stars, now found itself in a delicate dance with the human-led alliance, its future uncertain, but its resolve to adapt and evolve stronger than ever. The galaxy had been forever changed, and the balance of power had shifted in ways that no one could have predicted. The people of Earth, once mere upstarts, had proven themselves to be a force to be reckoned with, a lesson that the Galactic Council and the entire galaxy would never forget. Years had passed since the cataclysmic events that had shaken the very foundations of the Galactic Council. The once mighty governing body, battered and humbled by its defeat at the hands of the human colonies, had undergone a profound transformation, forced to adapt to the new realities of the galactic landscape. Under the watchful eye of the burgeoning human interstellar empire, the Council had implemented a series of sweeping reforms, addressing the systemic issues of oppression and exploitation that had plagued the galaxy for centuries. Gone were the days of unchecked power and the subjugation of less developed civilizations. In their place, a new era of cooperation, equality, and justice had begun to take root. President Samantha Nguyen, the indomitable leader of the human colonies, had played a pivotal role in shaping this new galactic order. Her unwavering commitment to the ideals of freedom and self-determination had inspired countless alien races to rise up and assert their rightful place in the stars. "The people of Earth have fought long and hard for the right to chart our own course in the galaxy," Nguyen said, her voice ringing with a quiet resolve. "But we know that true peace and prosperity can only be achieved through cooperation and mutual understanding. It is with this spirit that we extend our hand to our fellow sentient beings, inviting them to join us in building a future that benefits us all." The Galactic Council, once the bastion of power and influence, now found itself working in tandem with the human interstellar empire, their once adversarial relationship transformed into a fragile, but increasingly productive alliance. "We have learned from our mistakes," the Xylith representative said, his tone laced with a newfound humility. "The arrogance and greed that once blinded us to the suffering of others has been replaced by a deeper understanding of the importance of mutual respect and shared prosperity." The Eridani representative, ever the voice of reason, nodded in agreement. "The path forward will not be an easy one, but we are committed to working alongside our human partners to ensure that the galaxy we leave for future generations is one of peace, harmony, and opportunity for all." Across the vast expanse of the Milky Way, the effects of this newfound cooperation were already beginning to take shape. Oppressed civilizations that had once languished under the Council's rule now flourished, their people empowered to pursue their own dreams and aspirations. Trade and cultural exchanges between the human colonies and the diverse array of alien races blossomed, as the once wary participants began to recognize the mutual benefits of collaboration. Scientific breakthroughs, technological innovations, and artistic collaborations bridged the gaps between cultures, forging a new era of prosperity and progress. We have come a long way from the days of conflict and mistrust, President Nguyen reflected, her gaze fixed on the stars that twinkled overhead. But the work is far from over. We must continue to build upon the foundations we have laid, ensuring that the ideals of justice, equality, and freedom are upheld across the galaxy. As the human and alien representatives gathered in the newly refurbished halls of the Galactic Council, a tangible sense of optimism and hope filled the air. The once tense atmosphere had given way to a spirit of camaraderie and mutual respect as the participants discussed plans for further expansion, exploration, and the continued betterment of all sentient beings. The galaxy, once on the brink of a devastating war, had found a fragile but resilient path towards a future of cooperation and peace. And at the center of it all stood the people of Earth, their once humble dreams of exploration and discovery now blossoming into a grand vision for a united, prosperous, and equitable galactic community.